Hi, welcome
Hello.
to Wednesday Night School. It's show and tell night. And I'm John Laspina, the carnivore teacher. Let's go around and introduce ourselves, and then we're going to show and tell our favorite carnivore related items and talk about them. And maybe you'll, I know that when we used to do this in the classroom with the teachers on in-service day, best practices, we would talk about all the things we would do in our classroom. And I love those in services because I would jot down all these cool ideas and I would do some of them, and I made them part of my own teaching style. So maybe somebody will watch this tonight and get an idea and add it to their way of life. So I'll go last. You go first, Christy.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm Christy, and my channel is at Meeting Wellness, and I am a teacher, 25 years in Southern California. I teach elementary school. However, my students are a little too old for the show and tell era, so I think it's been a very long time since I've done show and tell, and I am super excited for this episode of Wednesday Night School.
Good.
Hi, I'm Nia, and I'm muted. My channel is Nia's Way, and I have a little fairy in the background here, so I try to keep myself muted whenever possible because we have a door slamming here. And yeah, I've been carnivore for a little over a year now, and still healing from some stuff, but I've come a very long way, and so I talk about all that good stuff on my channel.
Well, I think everybody knows who I am. I'm Rick the Quack. I've been on the carnivore diet for 41 years. I guess I'm kind of like the carnivore version of Richard Simmons. Everybody likes to laugh at him, but, I have some good things to say. And, yep, just enjoying life and having a heart attack every day. It's not an actual heart attack. It's just a type of food. So, when you think about quacks, heart attacks, iguanas, and stuff like that, you're thinking about me.
Good opening, good intro, everybody. I'm John Laspina, carnivore teacher, as I said, and I've been a carnivore for about 1.5 years, going on 2 years. Was ketovore and low carb for that. So I've been doing no seed oils and almost no carbohydrates and sugars for going on 5 years. I'm really proud of that. I have never felt better. I've cured a lot of ailments. I lost weight, not going back. And I believe that eating just animal products and animal-based fats makes us the healthiest because that food is meant for our human body. I believe that plants, some people can tolerate them. Some people have a wider bandwidth and can deal with them. A lot of people have problems and issues. You may not realize you have an issue or a problem until you take the plants out, and then you realize how much better you could feel. So a lot of people are coming to the carnivore way of eating. Rick's been doing it for 41 years. There's a woman, a gal in Canada. I don't know her name, but Dr. Chafee interviewed her, and she's in her, I think, her 70s or 80s. She's been doing it all her life. We are made for our body. Just, it's a one-to-one recognition. We function so well on just animal products, most of us. And that's why I have a channel. That's why Christy has a channel, Nia has a channel. Rick has a channel for other things too, but he's kind of cool. He's very eclectic. Wait till you see all the stuff he's going to show. So I got this idea to do a show and tell from Rick, and he's not at the couch right now, but he would come on not just my show, but other shows that we go on, and he will often pull something in front of the camera and show us what this was. And we're always like glued to it. Like, what is that? What is he talking about? And he connects it to a fact, a topic, a part of the carnivore way of eating. And I thought, what a great idea for a show topic, that we all bring a few things and show them. And so I'm going to let Christy start. Show us. I asked my guests to bring 2 items that are important or have meaning to them, connected to their carnivore lifestyle, and spend as much time as you want showing and telling. And everybody watching just might get some really cool ideas and do these ourselves. Go ahead, Christy.
Okay, so my first item, I don't think is going to be a surprise to anyone. I think everyone could have predicted this, but I brought a picanha. It is frozen right now, but this will be my dinner on Friday. It's frozen solid. I just took it out of my freezer.
Yum.
So if you don't know what picanha is, it is a rump cap is another name for it. It is the end of the sirloin. So it's also called a sirloin cap. And what the deal is it's like a little bit of sirloin, but it has this fat cap on the end of it that is just amazing. And even though I've eaten sirloin steaks before, to me, it doesn't really taste anything like a sirloin, you know, the meat part of it. But it is just super good. And I probably, when I discovered picanha, I made it once a week because I was the only one eating it. And now, though, I've got my son on carnivore and my husband over here on low carb or keto. So I make a picanha and it's gone in one sitting. So yeah, sometimes we'll do twice a week now. And let me tell you, you will not be sorry. The price has gone up a little bit. When I first was buying it, it was like $7 and something a pound. And now it's up to $9.74 a pound, which is a bummer. But still cheaper than ribeye usually. Like if ribeye's not on sale, the picanha is still cheaper. And I would say to me, I think it's like even. It's very hard for me to say which I like better. It kind of depends on what I'm in the mood for. But the picanha sometimes wins that contest. So it's pretty darn good. Very tender and very flavorful. I don't have any kind of like smoker. I think that's how you do it, right, John?
Yeah,
I don't have a smoker. I don't have anything fancy like that. And so I just do it in my oven. So what I do is I just cover it with Redmond Real smoked salt, and I like the hickory salt, and I just rub it all over with the hickory smoked salt. I just pop it in like a baking dish. I crank my oven up to 500. And then I do usually about 12 minutes. It kind of depends on the weight of the picanha, but that doesn't vary too much in my oven. And you have to practice. Like somebody got upset with me because their picanha was overdone. I'm like, your oven might be different than mine. I'm sorry. I don't really have a meat thermometer either, but now I just know what my oven's going to do and how it's going to turn out. So anyway, 500 degrees for about 12 minutes. And then I just turn the oven off and just let it sit in there. The oven will slowly just cool off and the picanha just sits in there. And usually about an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes. If I'm impatient, an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. And then it's kind of it's cool enough. You can take it out of the oven without like oven mitts or anything by that time. But I'm telling you right now, it's got this like brown crust on the outside. And then you cut it open and it's consistently pink all the way through. It's just beautiful. And the juice that comes off of that is like, you could just drink it. It's so good. So yeah. And then, so picanha is great right out of the oven like that. It's my favorite way, but it's like second place. It's pretty good cold actually. So like when I have my leftovers and I just have it cold, like I said in my intro, I am a teacher, so I got to take stuff to work and I like easy stuff. And sometimes I do a lot of hard-boiled eggs, but I get sick of those. So if I have leftover picanha, I'll just take a couple slices, just chop them up, put them in a little glass dish and just eat them cold like that at work. And I had that today, actually. It was the last of the picanha that I had ready, and it's just really good. So if I still come across people that don't know what picanha is. So if you are sleeping on that picanha, find yourself one. And one more tip. So this is Walmart. I get mine at Walmart. But some people have found it at their grocery stores, but you usually have to ask the butcher counter. It needs to be a grocery store with a full service butcher because they can, like my mom went and they cut her like 3 picanhas, but she had to go request them to do that. If you do that, the cool thing about it is you could tell them not to trim off any of the fat. So they were like, we trim it to a 1/4 inch. And she was like, please don't. And so, I mean, the fat on that picanha was a good 3/4 inch thick. Beautiful. I'm not kidding. I was jealous. Mine are already pre-cut because they're just ready in the package at the store. So I really need to go do that myself and see what I get. But it's very easy to prepare and it is delicious. I mean, you can't mess it up. I'm not a great cook. You can't mess it up. So picanha is my first thing to share because it is such a staple I eat it several times a week. I make 2 a week, and then I just eat off of that probably 3 or 4 days out of the week. It's really good. Okay, my second item is big and bulky. 1 second. Okay, this is my air fryer. It happens to be a Tasty air fryer. It's not the one I use all the time because I do love my Tasty air fryer. But the one my other one's way bigger. It's like a stainless steel one and it's big. So I didn't bring that one in. But the reason I brought that is because when I come home from work, I don't really feel like I just kind of want to sit down because, when I'm in charge of 31 kids all day and I'm the only adult in the room, can be a little exhausting. And when I come home, I just need a few minutes to sit on the couch. And so usually what I'll do is I'll take if I'm having a ribeye, or lately I had some grass-fed, grass-finished flank steak that I had frozen. It's very lean, but I put it in the air fryer and it came out super juicy. And then I just put a ton of butter, like a ton of butter on that. And I couldn't believe how juicy it was. I know that if I would have cooked it in a pan, it would have been probably very dried out. So actually, the air fryer can make a pretty darn good steak. And if you're in a pinch, it'll do it from frozen. The other thing that I love about my air fryer is when I make food for my kids. So when I transitioned my son from carnivore, and I'm hearing from more and more parents because I've told my son's story and like how awesome he's doing. I've heard from more and more parents and they're asking me like, how did you do that? What did you do? And chicken nuggets were a big thing that he used to eat, just like the highly processed version. So I would make him my own, and there is a recipe on my channel, but it's like ground chicken, some Parmesan cheese, some pork panko, a little bit of salt, an egg for a binder, and you just form those into nugget shapes, and the air fryer cooks those up awesome. And the Tasty air fryer especially does a good job with those. And also the chicken tenders, which I made. So yeah, my air fryer is definitely a go-to. Are you raising your hand, Nia?
Yes, I'm a student.
Nia
right now, and I'd like to be called on. To clarify, do you take the ground chicken, like all the ingredients, and you just mix them all together in a ball, or are you making like the nugget out of the meat and then breading it kind of with the other stuff? Which one?
Good question. So when I make the chicken nuggets, I mix it together in a bowl as if I was going to make a meatloaf. So I do all the ingredients. And again, on my channel, because I don't remember the proportions of everything, but it's there. Chicken nuggets, not chicken tenders, but the chicken nuggets, yeah, all together. And then I take that mixture of all the meat, egg, cheese, and pork panko and form that mixture into nuggets and then cook it in the air fryer. And they're good. Even my kid, my kid that just eats standard Americans still, my 18-year-old, he loved them. So I think I need to go back to making more of those and just being like, here's your dinner. So get some more healthy food in there for him. And then I also did chicken tenders where I bought like the chicken breast tenders and I put the similar things, but I did it more like a breading, Nia, like what you were saying. So I had but I put some bacon bits in there too as part of the breading, which was extra special. So yeah, it was like some bacon bits, some pork panko, some egg, a little bit of cheese. And then that was like I dipped the chicken tenders in there. Those turned out really good too. And both my kids liked them. So kid approved, teenager approved, we'll say. My kids are teenagers. So that's what I brought for show and tell today.
Thank you. It sounds good.
Yeah. I bet Nia has something great. What you got, Nia?
I got a couple of things. I was going to bring my air fryer, so I'm glad but then I thought, you know what? I bet someone else is going to bring an air fryer. So then I'm going to be doubling up. But I have the Ninja 5-in-1, 6-in-1 with the grill plate. And I use it once or twice a day. Totally changed my life. But today I brought something a little more old school, which is, let me get in front for dramatic effect. This bad boy right here, which is I wish I could show, like, can you see the reflection? Like you can see not a knife expert, so I don't know what this word is, but like you can see the ripples where they folded the steel. So this is a Japanese steel breaking knife, a bullnose breaking knife. And this was like, I think when I got it, it was like $120. So it's not a cheap knife, But I have been breaking down, you know, a lot of whole briskets I was buying when they were super cheap, whole ribeyes, you know, even roasts, things like that are just large that I want to break down. I had a regular knife set, and it was like my wrist was just aching and it would take me forever to slice through these things. And I was doing jerky by hand before I got a meat slicer. And so I was trying to like cut all these pieces, and it was just like my hands were dying. And so my fiance, who is a sushi chef, he knows all about knives, and was like, this is the kind of knife you need. So he basically picked this one out and picked like the right grade of steel and all this kind of stuff. But it's careful, Mama's got a sharp knife, not for children to handle. But you can see the shape of it. There's this sort of, they call this the bull nose. So the weight of it, there's a little bit more weight on the end, which allows you to kind of get that rocking motion a little bit easier. So you can get leverage and kind of slice through the much thicker pieces of meat. So I've broken down probably 3 whole briskets with this now, and cut a couple roasts into jerky with it. And it, yeah, just a sec. Mama will help you in 2 minutes, okay? It works amazing, and it's super sharp, and I have not had to sharpen it yet, but I'm going to give it to Ben to sharpen because he's a pro with all the knife stuff. But it comes with this little sheath, and so it stays in its little spot, and it's got, again, like good weight to it. So this has really helped me save money in the long run, even though it's kind of an investment up front. Because now I know, oh, I can buy all these cuts and easily break them down. It takes way less time. And then I can buy, you know, the whole pieces for a cheaper price. So that one's available on Amazon. But I mean, you don't have to buy one that's that expensive. There's lots of different breaking knives out there, but this is a 10-inch. And I like that it has, you know, that little bit of weight in the front, because I do find myself using that quite a bit. So that's something that really helped out in the kitchen. And then the other thing that I brought today are these bad boys, which I got at the Hack Your Health conference, and I was wearing some before. You see online all the time, oh, blue blocking glasses, but they're clear, you know, and I totally was like, oh, okay. They come with this little card that shows like, oh, here's how you know, test to make sure it's blue light blocking. And then when I was there, you know, it was like, well, if you can see the light through the glasses, then obviously it's not blocking it, right? And I was like, well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I wear these. I'm not perfect with them, but I really try to wear these anytime after sunset when I'm on the computer or looking at my phone or even walking around the house. I've changed most of my light bulbs, by the way, to like these color changing bulbs that I can put on red or orange in the evening. I use candles and really try to avoid using any like regular lighting, colored lighting after sunset. So our bedroom has a lamp that you can set to red now. This one for this room, and then I have some candles and other stuff like that. So that's been one of the other major things that I've been trying to harness in, you know, besides diet, is the circadian rhythm, and really getting more just particular with how I sleep and making sure I sleep well, because that's how we repair and that's how we, you know, build our bodies and process and you know, heal from things and feel rested for the next day. So those are probably, I mean, there's so many other things I could talk about, but these were the 2 smallest, most compact things that I could bring over here to the desk tonight, and things that have made a big difference.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you so much. You took one of mine. I have my blue blockers too, but I brought several items, so I won't show the blue blockers now. Rick, your turn. I know you're gonna pick up an engine part, right? What are you gonna do?
Well, actually, I was going to bring an iguana.
Oh, that would have been so cool. Or a duck.
When I was working today, there was an iguana, and I tried to catch him. I ran all over the place. I grabbed his tail, but then he slipped away. He went
Oh,
up a palm tree. I don't know where he went. I was looking all over. My friend says, well, we got a shotgun here somewhere. But the thing was, I wanted to try to catch one live so that I could show you what an iguana looks like. It was a little one. It was kind of not big enough to eat. So I figured I'd catch it. It got away. It disappeared. It went into some other dimension. But on the other hand, when I came home from work, I found the Fresco y Mas sale paper, and they've got some steak for $3.99. I guess it's a T-bone. They got, you know, over here. I don't know if you notice, right here. See, shrimp for $2.98. Well, I bought some of that a couple days ago, and this is for heart attack shrimp. And what is the main ingredient that makes a food heart attack worthy? Here it is. Beef tallow. That's enough beef tallow to fry up some shrimp or chicken or whatever you want. And I think they also have chicken on sale. Yeah, they have it for 68 cents a pound. And so, yeah, that's a very common part of my diet, because my my carnivore diet is different than everybody else's. Everybody else carnivore for health, strength, to cure disease, and so on. And my carnivore diet was just to have fun and maybe have a heart attack. But it wasn't so much the heart attack. It was just the concept of, we all got to drop dead sometime from something. So if you have a choice on the way to go, would you rather get old, weak, helpless, be in a nursing home where they have to change your diaper, be sick, just can't do anything, or work and have fun and do whatever you want to, until one day you just have that, and you drop dead, and that's it. And there's nothing else that can be done. And I figured that's a much better way to go than to, either blow up instead of you wear out or rust out or whatever. And that's kind of what it was. And I have one more thing. I'm sure anyone that's a prepper would know what this is. This is a ball jar, and this is what I use to hold my yogurt. So when I'm making yogurt, I have the little stainless steel lids that go on top, and then I'll put my milk and I'll put my culture in there, and I'll let it do its thing. And and then I'll eat about one of these every 2 days. That's how much yogurt I eat. So I'm one of those carnivores that really hits the dairy. So this is what, a quart, or I forget exactly how much it is, but it's got the milliliters on it. But one of this lasts 2 days. So that gives you an idea how much I eat. And when I have my heart attack shrimp, it's going to be 2 pounds of shrimp, usually anywhere between 1 and 2 pounds. And it's just cooked in the beef tallow. What I do, I put the beef tallow on the stove. I heat it up on the burner until it gets soft, and then I dump it out into the pot, and then put it on the stove and get it when it's hot, and then put the food in there. It's sizzling. If you are ever curious about how I do it, all you have to do is go to my channel, Charger Mopar, on YouTube. I've been a YouTuber for 17 years, and I've made a lot of videos on how I cook. It's very, very simple. So if you're a poor person and you don't want to do a lot of work and you still want to go on the carnivore diet, you can check out my channel. And I have a lot of other things. So show and tell. I mean, this thing could go on for hours with all the stuff that I have, but we're not going to do that. So I figured, just a little taste of it. And again, if you want to get more of what I have, just check out my videos, and we'll find all kinds of things that are in there.
Thank you, Rick. DC, sorry, I didn't see you were backstage there because I had to scroll up to see the next line. And introduce yourself, and if you brought some things to show, you can go right into that as well.
Actually, I just finished editing one video, an interview with Dr. Casey Peeler, but I just got a great delivery this morning from a new butcher. So they said it looked like a really huge box delivered of meat. So for me, it's not much to show and tell, though. I mean, it comes to carnivore, like, it's so easy. It's as like when I first started this, is like my recovery was all about going back to a caveman diet, like caveman way of eating, just to eat a natural lifestyle, you know. So for me, it's just very easy, simple, like Rick says, like just cook in lard, very basic, simple, easy diet stuff. You know, it's not something that you need a recipe for. You just heat up some lard, chuck the steak in, and you're done. That's about it for me. That's what I think it's more important about what you leave out than what you put in, you know, when it comes to cooking on the carnivore diet. And not just, I'm not talking about just carnivores either. It's like for health, for your well-being, for your health. It's what you leave out that makes the big difference, you know. I'm not into trying to replicate junk food either, like carnivore pizza and stuff like that. I'm really just very simple. I have very simple taste, and yeah, like I used to. Don't get me wrong. Like that doesn't mean that like I've never indulged in other things. Like my wife, she makes great cakes and cookies and things like that, but it's very rare, and it's actually I haven't had any for years, to be honest. But it's always homemade stuff anyway. I don't eat a lot of dairy. Sometimes I do, but if I do, it'd be like a pot set yogurt, like something that's very simple. And again, it's what they leave out of it that's most important. And but basically, that's how I eat. You know, I keep it as simple as possible, and always trying. The only thing I find is important though is where you source your foods as well, because what they put into your foods, even though you may have one or two ingredients, that you know that food might have a lot more. You know, depends on what the animal's eating as well. But introducing myself again, DC Learn to Live, because I think that life is a learning journey for everyone. I don't think anyone's an expert on life. We're all just like an N equals 1 experiment as we go. We learn as we go. And my journey is, is all about, trying to recover from chemotherapies and cancer, that trying to stay in remission and things like that. So, that's basically me.
All right, DC, thank you so much. My turn. Okay, I brought lots of stuff in case people didn't show up and I had to talk for an hour. This is going to sound weird, but I got this idea from somebody else and I use it every single day, and it's a paint scraper. A paint scraper. Can anybody guess what I use the paint scraper for?
Scraping paint?
Mix your electrolytes.
So what I do?
No, it's to cook in your cast iron. It's to cook in your cast iron.
So I have 3 sizes of cast iron. I brought my tiny one, my little one here. Okay, that's my small cast iron. It's nice and seasoned. And my first meal of the day, I always have 4 or more eggs. Usually it's 2 eggs and 2 egg yolks, or 3 eggs and 2 egg yolks. And then I mix cut up meat from the night before. I'm always cooking something in my cast iron for my first meal, which is like my lunch. And I, of course, put a ton of butter and or bacon fat or beef tallow. I'm doing almost like Rick's Heart Attack chicken. I have so much fat in there with my meal. And as I'm cooking, this is better than any spatula. It's better than any wooden or metal spatula. I don't know where I honestly forgot where I saw this now. I tried a thicker one. I tried a thinner one. This is the perfect size. And now I love this thing. I take it with me when I go travel. If I'm cooking at an Airbnb or whatever, I take my little cast iron too when I travel. I put it in the luggage because, if you go to an Airbnb, what do they have to cook in their kitchens? They got the non-stick crap. So that's my first one. And this is one that I did use to scrape paint with. This is not a brand new one. So of course I cleaned it thoroughly, but it's fantastic. I love it. I can't rave about that one enough. I do have my blue blockers, all right, that I put on around 8 o'clock at night because I go to bed around 11 and I keep those on all night. But this is the second one I want to show you. It's kind of like not like Nia's. This is I don't know the name of this knife, but it's made for cutting steaks. And I got this from, it's the same one that, I don't know if you could see the emblem, the bearded butchers use, if you've ever watched the bearded butchers. This thing is so freaking sharp. I have cut myself by accident. You have to be very, very careful. But using this to cut the ribs, the steak, the picanha, it is like butter. I've never had such an amazing knife. And this is what they use. This is the exact knife that butchers are using to cut through an entire cow and cut it into pieces. I've seen them do it with this very knife. So I bought that. Those are my two. And since this is my show, I'm going to show more, okay? All right. So I walk around all day with my water bottle. I fill it with ice. This is a thermos water bottle. It's 100% stainless steel, except for the outside is plastic, but my mouth goes on. It's stainless steel. Fill it with water that goes through a filter to make the ice. I have a reverse osmosis filter system under my sink. So the water that's coming out of my dispenser, my kitchen sink that fills this up, it has no fluoride, has no lead. It's basically reverse. It has water with no minerals in it. So then I buy Redmond Relight with no flavoring. It's absolutely no flavor. I take the tiniest scoop of this stuff, very tiny. I didn't bring the scoop with me. But it is just, it's salt, potassium, magnesium. It's just electrolytes. There are no chemicals, additives, or fillers in this. And so this thing is going to last me, I don't know, 4 or 5 months the way I use it. And then I shake that up, and all day long, every 20 minutes or so, maybe whatever it is, I take a sip, and that's how I drink my water all day long. And it's so delicious. You taste the metal, the electrolytes, and that's what I like about it. I like ice cold water. All right, my next one that I'm going to show is Dr. George Eads' book, Change Your Diet, Change Your Mind. I don't know if it's showing up in mirror on you or not, but I'm just at the beginning of this because I can't sit down and read for a long amount of time. I get bored. So 30 minutes, an hour go by, and I put the book down. I pick it up again the next day. But it is probably the best book for self-improvement and for our lifestyle that I have read. And this one's not going to show up in the video because I'm on green screen, and this is almost green. It's kind of yellowish, but it's my torch. Okay. Now, what do I do with my torch? This is the kind of torch that a plumber uses to melt the solder and the flux to put copper piping together. Well, I use this torch because I use a Traeger grill, which is not direct heat. It uses wood pellets and it smokes things. But if you put it at high temperature, it's as hot as an oven. So when I use it like that, my steaks don't have a nice char on it. So I will turn this on and I will char the outside of my meat on both sides. And it's just amazing. I'll even put a little butter on it and then char it. All the butter solids melt and get all, oh, it's so good. So those are some of mine. I think I got them all. Those are some of my goodies, my little show and tells. I have more as well. If anybody who's listening has a question that you'd like to ask, type it in the comments. If anybody who is with me right now live, like I have a question for...
Just something I was going to add there. The blue light blockers are really good at night, like the orange lenses you use at night. These ones I use also through the day. Because when you're working on the computer, these ones block 50% of blue light while you're working on the computer.
So it helps.
Because that computer screen actually does raise your blood glucose levels up as well. I do use the orange ones, the 100% ones at night when it gets dark. But another thing is that you absorb blue light through your skin as well. So it's something that some people might want to think about too. Is you can actually get red light bulbs for your home because you do actually absorb quite a lot through your skin. So like skin exposure does affect you as well. Just trying to look at that book. What's that book, Rick? Was that a record? Hawaii Paradise.
Hawaiian Paradise. That's
Paradise.
Is that a 33?
Yes, it is. See, the
right.
thing is, I don't have the fancy blue light blocking glasses. I don't wear any glasses at all. However,
He
if you
turns up.
notice in my videos, my lighting seems very dim.
Yeah.
I have incandescent bulbs. I've always had incandescent bulbs, and everyone says, "Oh, you're wasting energy." But my electric bill is like 120, $130. So I don't waste much energy. But what I do, I have the windows open. My neighbors, they all have the windows covered with stupid shades and stuff. Mine, I basically leave, the blinds, I pull them up, and then I spend all day working outside. And when I come home to my incandescent lights, and then, I'm kind of low tech, so I'll put a record in the turntable. Actually, I digitized a lot of these, but, it's just part of the lifestyle, I guess. See, I mean, I got some of my favorites here. I got, there you go, Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass. So I'm definitely not the cool carnivore. I'm not the one that's listening to rock and roll or any of that stuff. I'm listening to my elevator music in my incandescent light, smelling the heart attack food cooking. And I generally go to bed around 11:30, and I wake up between 7 and 7:30. And as soon as I wake up, I go outside. I used to feed my ducks, but now my ducks have abandoned me. I have no ducks. My yard is duckless. So I'm going to have to go and capture another van load of ducks and start a new colony. But that was always part of my routine. I get up in the morning, I go outside, I do a few, trim a few branches, whatever, and get ready to go to work. And then, when I'm working outside. And then when I come home, a lot of times you see me before I try to go online, I'm trying to, cram down my food because I like to eat my dinner somewhere between 6 and 8. So that always works for me. I don't snack. And a lot of times when I'm working, everybody else has a snack. I don't. I will have a lunch, although sometimes I won't have a lunch if I'm going to finish work at 3 o'clock. And then I'll put the food on the engine. So on the way home, it'll be ready and then I can eat it. And then I'll maybe eat dinner after 8. So it really depends on the day. But I generally finish eating by 9 o'clock. I don't eat anything after that. And that's it. And it's just a matter of cleaning up, putting things away, and getting ready for the next day. And that's a typical day with me.
That's good. That's good. I was going to refer back to Nia. Did you get the LED lights that you can change the color with your iPhone? Is that the kind?
No, these are just a remote.
With a but it has a
They're
remote.
not hooked
Okay.
up to my
Yeah.
phone, but yeah, I
Has-
can like this one behind me and this one down
Okay.
here.
All right. Yeah. I
So
have.
after I turn the softbox off, then I'll just turn these to orange or red for the evening, and then
All
let 'em-
right. I have a couple of those bulbs I bought, and I could do it on my app on my phone because I have the Google Home app thing where you say, "Hey Google, I want this to happen." So I say, "Hey Google, make my light red." One of those things.
I can do the same thing with my phone. I can turn my lights on and off with my Rick phone, and I can demonstrate it.
Let's see, Rick.
Plug it in. Okay. Let's see.
He's dialing.
There we go. You hear me?
Yeah. How did you do that with your phone?
Oh, you just dial the right code.
Oh
me try
my
it
gosh.
again.
And
Turn
that
it
turned
back
your
on.
camera off. You have that assigned to your.
No, it's just the light. The lights are off.
Oh, you have it assigned to the light.
Okay, that's one light, and then I'll turn.
How do
the
you
other
have
one.
that connected to your rotary phone?
I have an interface box that goes to the phone system,
Oh my gosh.
and then there we go. See?
How fun is
So
that?
I can do all that from my phone.
All right.
It's not an iPhone, but I guess you can call it a bat phone.
It's the bat phone.
Uh-oh. Oh, I hit the. Okay, I hit. Okay. Come on.
Making
There
me
we go.
choke on my own spit.
Yeah, what happened was, I don't know, I did a video, I don't know if you saw it, where you can tap on a phone to dial the number, and I think when I put my elbow down, I hit the phone, and that's what happened. So it turned the light off. But I can do it remotely. When I'm away from the house, if I'm working or whatever, I can actually dial it. It works with
All
both
right.
rotary and touch tone.
That is
So
so cool.
if you look at like in the 60s, they had, I think it was at the World's Fair, they made a video about the Bell system, and they were showing people calling their house from a payphone to turn on the lights or the sprinklers. And I thought about that when I was younger, and I built this system back in the 90s, and I've been using it ever since. And everyone laughs. I was like, oh, it's so funny.
That's
The
brilliant,
thing
Rick.
is, I like old technology, but I like new things too. I just like the old look. So when everybody
Yeah.
talks about an app on their phone, I always joke with them. I said, "Oh, I'd love to have your app, but can you help me download it to my phone?" "Oh, what kind of phone do you have?" "Here's my phone." They're like, "Oh no."
Do you remember, Rick, when where was it? We were on somebody's show and somebody made fun of your microphone. And what did they call it? The Lawrence Welk microphone or something?
Oh, Star, what was it? Star
What,
Search
what
microphone.
was that? That was hilarious. I almost couldn't catch my breath.
I have it.
Yeah,
It's
I
right
think
here.
that was Larry,
Was
actually.
that
Larry
Larry?
said that.
Yeah, he said something, but the way he said it was just hilarious.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, this is my Shure Unidyne microphone. It's from the 60s or something like that.
He still
I have a
works.
lot of old microphones.
Analog.
Oh yeah, everything's analog here.
Yeah.
Everything's wired. I don't have Wi-Fi. Everything I have is wired. I have Ethernet connections all over the place. So everything's wired. My camera, it's got a wire going to it. There's nothing high tech.
It works.
It works.
And it's reliable. And it's
Most of the
Yeah, I
time.
like that too, actually. Rick. I like that style of the old, like, I love Art Deco and Art Nouveau sort of periods. But with today's technology, like the ability would be really good. But like a lot of the technology they had back then was actually really very advanced, very good stuff.
I think it was more reliable. When I talk on my
yeah.
cell phone, people drop off, they come back, there's repeats, you can't hear them. Sometimes if they're on Verizon and you're at AT&T, it doesn't sound as good. If you remember growing up, somebody, the phone rang, you picked up the phone, it was wired, it was a constant connection. There was no delay, there were no cutoffs, there were no drops. I get so frustrated with our cell phone signals these days. And
but people could listen in on your conversations when you pick them up in the house. They could go to the upstairs.
You're right.
And
the
pick it up and
phone.
listen to and then you'd be stuck with that cord trying to sneak off.
Well,
I remember when I've got my
talk
first
to your
cell
crush or whatever, and then everybody be like,
my
I heard
first
what you
cell
said.
phone, I
not
thought,
if you
why
used a
don't they
privacy filter.
Why don't they have two cell phones in the same house that are like two wired phones? Right? They don't have
do.
Yeah. Depends
I've
on
that.
If you have multiple lines, though, you can do it.
Can you do that? I've never seen that though. Interesting.
Well, when I did have a cell phone, I don't have one now, but I actually had an adapter where you could wire it to a wired phone. And my phone system in the house is a combination of these. You've seen them. They have multiple buttons for each line. And there's a device. It was called the Dock and Talk. And then what you do, you stick your cell phone in it. And what I did, I put it in the part of the house that had the best reception. I even put a dish antenna from an old satellite dish on the back of it. And you drop the phone in there and you get a super strong signal. And then it's just wired. I don't like wireless devices. I like everything in my house to be wired. My electrical is all in metal conduit, so there's no interference. And my stereo system is analog. And the thing is, like if you have a cell phone and it's too close, you can actually hear the signals that are coming out of the cell phone because the cell phone is constantly sending signals back to the tower to let it know where it is so that it can receive the calls. And you'll hear like beep, 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 like little bits like that.
Right.
Now, if you use a digital sound system, you won't notice it because it'll filter that out. But mine is all analog. I mean, I've got reel-to-reel, I've got a turntable, I've got cassette, I got 8-track, I got everything. And there's analog cables that run through here. And one time I had an extension cord, it was running in the wrong place, and I kept hearing a humming sound. I'm like, where is that coming from? It was driving me crazy. And it turned out to be an extension cord. But this old house is all done with electrical conduit, and it's just metal. So it's grounded, and there's no way that you're going to pick up any weird electrical signals. And I guess some people even are concerned about EMF, especially high frequency. So you wouldn't want to have Wi-Fi. And the other thing is in my house, the cell phone doesn't work very well because all the window screens here are aluminum. They're the old window screens, and that tends to act as an RF blocker. So if I try to use my cordless phone and I go outside, half the time it doesn't even work. So I had to put the cordless base station in the payphone outside. And then that way, when I receive a call, I can get it if I'm using the cordless. But when I'm in the house, it's all wired.
So Rick said the word grounded. Nia, didn't you buy a grounding mat?
I did, and I actually thought about that being my second item here. I'm sitting on it. So it's just like, it fits perfectly on my chair right here. It's like, I don't know, 28 by 16 or something. And the only reason I didn't include it intentionally was because I'm not sure exactly what result I've had from it. I sort of, viscerally feel like it maybe does something, but it's hard to measure. But I think it's something that I'd like to be able to measure. I'd like to. I bought we talked about this a while back, a voltmeter, because the company that I bought it from had a video showing how you could test your voltage, and then when you touch the mat, you can see it drop, so you know that it's working. So I spent the extra money to buy the testing kit for this, so I could test it. It came with an outlet tester, so you can verify that your outlet is grounded. So I did that in all of my outlets here, and then you hook it up with this other probe thing, and then you can test like the cord to make sure that it's right, and then the product itself when it's plugged in. But I wasn't able to get the meter to register the low voltage. So I sent it back and got a different one that had a variable thingy on it, and it said it went down to like 0.2 volts or something like that. But the problem with that was you have to stick the black probe in the grounded part of your outlet and then pinch the red part. But I can't get a contact in my outlet with the probe that is on there. It's not long enough. So this one is like,
yeah,
it's pretty round, and so it like fits really well into the socket. But whether it's a safety mechanism or whatever it is, I can't get a reading. So I'm thinking about trying it outside, because I have a portable power station that I could take with, because I could check it just by standing on the earth, and see if that, verify that. But I want to see if when I'm sitting on this, how much of a difference it makes. So I would have to do that, I suppose, outside to figure that out. But just stick the one probe in the earth and then pinch the other side. So, but I think I've been thinking about getting one of the sheets for the bed as well, because I think it can't hurt. And the more people that I talk to that use a grounding product of some kind, they usually say that they feel a difference, and I think it makes sense. Again, as long as it's actually working, because we would have spent so much more of our time connected to the earth. Now we don't. Everything we touch is basically insulated in some form or fashion, unless we're walking outside, not on a sidewalk, through a field or something every day. And so that's kind of one thing I'm looking forward to as the season changes too, and it gets cooler, is being able to like go to the park and sit in the grass for an hour or two and not be just like drenched and, potentially getting heat stroke out there sitting out, and in the sun or even in the shade. It's still so hot. So because I really think that makes a difference, and helps with inflammation and helps with nervous system regulation, which is something I'm really focusing my attention on as well. And so you talked about books too, and there's a couple books I'm reading that I think are really, they're actually kind of hard to read, because it's very, it's just very, you have to confront a lot of things that maybe you didn't think about before. And so, like how we look at things, how we look at the world, and how we look at our past and all this kind of stuff. So I think, everybody has a block to some degree of, I know this is kind of getting off topic, but just things that affect us, that can actually affect us physiologically. We have certain mindsets about things. And so working with that is also important too. So those are probably the two like woo things that I'm also doing that aren't like meat slicers and cool ninja knives and stuff, which I do like also. But yeah, reading and grounding and moving around and doing some more yoga, stuff like that.
Grounding's good. I've just we had and Rick knows this. I don't know how his neighborhood was, but last week we were flooded. I live in West Boca Raton. All of our streets, it was almost up to my knees, and we went out, and I just usually go for a walk after dinner, and we decided to walk barefoot the whole entire walk, which normally I would wear sneakers. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I'm grounding, and I just did this whole like 1.5 mile walk. Part of it was in water. Part of it was in muddy grass and everything. Just walked around the neighborhood, look at all the lakes, and it was so flooded up here. It's all gone down since. We're kind of worried now because of this hurricane coming. Our ground is so saturated. But it made me think about walking barefoot more often. I just have to watch where I'm walking, that I don't go into fire ants or dog poop or glass or anything. But, growing up as a kid, I was barefoot constantly. I had hard calluses on the bottom of my feet. So I know I was grounding. I think I feel better when I ground, and being conscious of what it does and how it lowers blood pressure and how it just centers you. I'm going to be doing more of that. Some people even buy the shoes with the metal thing on the bottom so that when you're walking, your feet are touching the metal on the bottom. It goes through the bottom. I don't know if you've had any of those or heard of any of those.
Well, one thing you can do though is leather sole shoes are very good with grounding as well.
Mm-hmm.
When I spoke to Dr. Sarah Pugh, she's really big onto this too. She only wears leather sole shoes, and she puts a copper rivet in them.
Right.
And they'll do the same thing. So you don't have to spend a lot of money to do this, to do grounding, really. Like you can buy the sheets, you can buy the mats and all this other things as well. But I think it's more like, it's great. I mean, the longer you can ground, the better, obviously. Right. But as long as you can get, 20, 30 minutes in a day, just be outside barefoot and ground, like it makes a huge difference to your life as well. Like I can literally feel the electrical charge in my calves. You can feel the circulation just pulsing. Like it's really good.
Interesting.
Yeah, when I go, I grounded my backyard. I was doing it every day, and then I kept getting bug bites all over. Anyways, it's terrible. But now that we're heading into fall, hopefully that'll go away. But I've done it a few times, and when I don't do it, it's like I feel the need to get out there and do it. When I'm out there, even though I don't feel anxious before I go out, as soon as I get my feet on the grass out there, it's just like calm. I just feel calm.
Yeah, it's very relaxing.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very relaxing, and that's what makes me want to like get out there and do it more. I try to combine it either with my sunrise time, or now that I'm, in school, after school, the sun is still pretty high in the sky. Like it's around 3 o'clock when I get home. And so I can get out there and get some direct sun and get hopefully a little vitamin D boost while I'm doing my grounding. So kind of getting a twofer, but I do feel for sure calmer, like instantly when I get my feet in the grass, which is just, it's crazy, but it's a really neat side effect of doing that.
I felt that too. I go out and get the mail or whatever, and I go out barefoot. I'm always barefoot unless I have to get in the car and go to the store, obviously. But so I have a question for anybody who knows about grounding. All right. Grounding is about electrical contact with, our nervous system to the earth. And so what conducts electricity, from my knowledge, is, anything with metal. Iron. So if we're on the ground, we're touching the dirt, or that's our skin to the dirt. What about if we're touching just concrete, which is on dirt, or brick, which is on dirt?
If it's wet, it's okay. You're not going to get much if it's dry. But if it's wet, it will still conduct that power through the concrete, because you have a lot of rebar and things like that.
Right, rebar. Mm-hmm.
Well, so it depends on the floor too, because I have a terrazzo floor, which was the old Florida standard, and we have brass strips in the floor, and those are grounded. You can take a light bulb, stick one end into the outlet and touch it to the floor, and it will light up. So I know it's grounded.
That's a good test.
Yeah.
All right. That makes a lot of sense. I know the beach, we are at the beach and
That's
the ocean.
another thing. Like, even though, like in my place, it's a concrete floor with tile on top, so you still get grounding, like a certain amount of grounding. Not going to be as strong as being outside in the grass, or but if it is wet, you are still getting a certain amount, especially. So I mean, it depends on the floor in the house, but all houses are grounded as well. They all have a grounding. Otherwise, you'd have problems with your electricity and things like that too.
Right.
So, like if you have a wooden floor, wood also conducts electricity.
There's a lot of nails.
Right, and like
screws in
if
that
you
wood
go onto
floor.
the beach, same thing with concrete, because sand is an insulator. So if you're on the beach, you'd actually have to go to the water,
Right,
and get your feet in the
The
water
wet
to
sand
get the
is
grounding
wet
effect.
sand
So
is
like,
better than dry sand.
or wet sand.
Whenever
Yeah.
the ground is wet, you're always going to get more electricity. You're always going to get more grounding. Like, whether it's grass, sand, or anything else, it's always better when it's wet. But you still get a certain amount even when it's dry. And there are other ways you are still grounded without having to buy all these other things to go with it. Like, you don't need to get special shoes. If you have just leather sole shoes, that leather is still going to conduct that grounding as well. It's the problem you have is when you get that, when all your shoes are rubber based, like
Rubber,
runners and things like that. So that will insulate you heavily. But you get, like Sarah Pugh does as well. She puts those copper rivets into the base of her shoe as well, which really helps a lot as well.
That's great to know. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad we got on to grounding. Add that to our show and tell. So we're coming to the top of the hour here. I'm going to ask everybody real quick. I don't know how many people are watching and listening. Those of you who are used to StreamYard, is there a number that you can see when you're the host, or you don't know until it's over?
Usually it's up in the upper left corner, but I don't know.
Oh, it is. Okay, I see it. Okay, I see it. Do you see it too, or only the host does?
No, only the host can see it.
Okay, interesting. All right, I'm still learning this. So tell us your channel and for the people who are watching and where they can find more of you. Christy.
Awesome. So yeah, my channel is Meeting Wellness, and you guys, I'm so excited because tomorrow I'm doing a live interview with Air to Ground Farms. So they are a regenerative farm. They grow all their own meat and vegetables. They eat a keto diet, but everything they grow is all on their own farm. And I'm so excited to talk to them. Come over and be really nice. It's their first live stream that they've ever done, but they have a great channel. If you haven't subscribed, it's Air, the number 2 Ground Farms. And they're just a really neat couple. I'm excited to talk to them tomorrow. And then in the recent past, I just did a couple interviews with Dr. Anthony Chapey. So on his channel, I have one all talking about my son with his ADHD. That was just I thought it ended up really fantastic. Not to toot my own horn, but I think it's because I was so nervous. And then when I watched it back, I was like, okay, phew, it turned out okay. But then on my other channel, which is Lioness Lifestyle, we interviewed Dr. Chapey yesterday. And so that was just an amazing roundtable of questions. We got through a lot of questions. It was a combination of questions from viewers that had already asked to questions from viewers that were watching live. Absolutely fantastic. So the Lioness Lifestyle channel is the other place you can find me online.
Awesome. I will offer a second opinion on that interview on Dr. Chapey's channel. I watched it about your son. I thought it was excellent too. I thought you did a really good job. So everybody should go listen to that.
I thought you were going to go the other way
really,
then,
yeah. Gotcha. No, but really, like, and you talked about some stuff that just the longevity of the issues too. I just think it's such a crazy transformation story. So everyone should go check that out. Now I'll plug myself. My channel is Nia's Way, and then I have a podcast channel at Nia M Nova, which I am putting all of my interviews on. So tomorrow I'll be posting there my conversation with Old Guy Carnivore, which was really good. We talked about addiction and all kinds of stuff. We talked for almost 2 hours, so that'll be up there tomorrow. So If you like the carnivore stories of healing and hope, you can subscribe there as well. And then on my main channel, I do a variety of things, from vlogs to commentary to live streams to just reporting in on my results. And I'm right now running an experiment with adding in some homemade yogurt of a specific strain to see what happens. Basically, I'm skeptical kind of if it will improve my gut health, but I'm on day 3 of that, so I'll probably be putting an update here on that journey shortly. And yep, so those are my places you can find me.
That's great. Yeah, the yogurt, I think you'll be impressed. Just have to keep at it. But I'm Rick, again, Charger Mopar, ChargerMopar, because I started the YouTube channel because of cars, and antique cars are my thing. I also have construction equipment and all kinds of odds and ends. You'd be surprised at some of the things I have in my house. Everyone says it's like going back in time. It's like going back to the 60s. You never know what you'll find here. But if you're into the carnivore lifestyle and you want to do it from, let's just say, a less stressful way, it's strict carnivore, pretty much the way I eat, but still, we're having fun. It's about enjoying your life, having at least one heart attack a day. And I'm not talking about the cardiac type. I'm talking about this type where you cook your food in beef tallow or pure lard. And yeah, very simple. My lifestyle is all about simplicity and having things that work like they should. It's not about impressing anybody. You don't see me as a celebrity carnivore. It's pretty rare that someone will bring me on their channel, and I'm too poor. I don't have any streaming service, so I can't interview anybody yet. But, if you want something a little different, you want to relax, you want to have some fun, you want to talk about delicious duck and iguana, come to my channel, and that's what I'm all about.
Yeah, excellent. My main channel, like my only channel at the moment, is DC Learn to Live, and it's sort of just about trying to find ways or show people that. Well, the reason why I started it was to show people that getting through tough times. That we all have tough times, and the only way to get through it is to keep going. And you can come back. It's amazing how resilient your body is. You can heal. You can heal from from being very, very sick to being as healthy as you can get. Anyway, I'm not saying that you can cure yourself, but you can certainly make things better, and you can certainly make life better as well. It's kind of a vlog. I do a lot of interviews. I've got another interview coming up today with Dr. Casey Peebler. I like to talk to people who have healing stories as well, who like to show people that you can come back from rock bottom, basically, and turn your life around. You can turn your life around at any age, and no matter how far gone you think you are. I also do a lot of interviews with doctors and that like to show the science and like to show there are different ways that we can do this as well. So yeah, and I also vlog a bit. I vlog about what I'm doing, how my remission is going, and how my healing story is going, but also about life and just what I like to do. So it's nothing too serious, I don't think. I'm not a. I just think we're all here to learn we're all here learning how to live. Like I said before, no one's an expert on life, so we just and I think it's good to support each other's journey. Just say take on some information. You might not agree with everything I say. You might not agree with people around you, but that's okay. Like you take on board things that you like, and then you take it with you, and on you go. That's just life. Anyway, that's me. So on to John.
Thank you. I am trying to give you the nonverbal feedback you deserve, DC, when you're talking about healing from cancer. And then Rick is balancing things on his head, and I'm smiling and laughing while you're talking about healing from cancer. And I don't want to send the wrong signal to you that I'm laughing at you. Rick, you're a trip.
This is a GoPro of the 1970s. You know, you just strap this to your head, and then you put a string and you pull it.
Oh my God. All right. I am my channel is Carnivore Teacher 1965. That's the year I was born. I like to keep that in there because I'm 59. I can't believe I'm going to be 60 in less than a year. I feel like I'm almost 30. I honestly, seriously, I've never felt better in my life. And that is why I have my channel. It's why I can't keep my mouth shut. It's why I decided to come on Wednesday Night Live and add a live component to this as well, because people need to know. I learned by watching other people online and hearing their story, and I decided to make some changes. And I'm still learning things from everybody and tweaking and making little changes and making my life better. So this is the reason that I'm on there. I put a video up every day of me teaching something. It's an aha moment that I got from somebody else's video that just meant so much to me. I jot it down and it becomes a topic for a 5 to 7 minute little talk. And then every Wednesday, and today's Wednesday, I put a song on there. Sometimes I do one with Christy. We're due for a new duet, Christy. We need to do another one. I did one that I posted today from The Sound of Music. And it's really weird, but it was fun to make. So check that one out if you're interested. And other components, I do how I make things on the stove, on the grill, how I put things together. I just recently put out a video on what I eat in a week because a viewer had asked me to do that. So it took me a week to take all the pictures, and I filmed them and I put that together. So I'm trying to reach people like everybody else is trying to just get the message out that this way of eating is so healthy and has helped us and has actually helped millions of people. My gosh, come back from cancer and almost dying. So many problems, so many ailments, and we're feeling wonderful. So anybody listening, either live or on the replay, please consider the carnivore way of eating, because it will change your life. It will change everybody's life, because it's what we're supposed to be eating. It really is. Everybody, oops, I almost knocked my thing over. I want to wish everybody a wonderful night. Thank you again for coming on. And I will, I'll send this to you guys within 12 hours so you can post it to your channel. All right. Have a wonderful evening, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye.